David Menzies for Rebel News here in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Well, you know, folks, it's hard not to associate certain cities with certain things. With Buffalo, it's chicken wings. You mention Calgary, you think of the Stampede, and when it comes to Las Vegas, of course, it's those larger-than-life casinos. But you know, whenever I'm in Thunder Bay, Ontario, all I can think about is Terry Fox. Terry Fox wasn't born here, nor was he raised here, yet it was here on September 1st, some 4 decades ago in 1980, that his marathon of hope came to an abrupt and abbreviated end. My goodness, time flies, and you know, 4 decades ago, so did Terry. Terry Fox averaged 26 miles of running per day. That is an astonishing feat, even for a healthy, world-class athlete. Terry started his odyssey in St. John's, Newfoundland, and the intended final destination was Victoria, British Columbia, but alas, it was never meant to be.
Originally, I had primary cancer in my knee 3.5 years ago, and the cancer had spread, and now I've got cancer in my lungs, and we got to go home and try and do some more treatment. But all I can say is if there's any way I can get out there again and finish it, I will.
I was actually lucky enough to catch a glimpse of Terry Fox when he was still alive. It was the summer of 1980, and I was playing golf on a course north of Toronto. And then all of a sudden there were murmurs on the golf course, murmurs that gave way to cheers and yells. And I thought to myself, what the hell is going on? Why is golfing etiquette going out the window? And then I saw what all the other golfers were witnessing as well. That at the boundary of the golf course, where the course ended and the highway begun, there was Terry Fox. It was that iconic image. Terry Fox in that unique gait of his, in front of a police cruiser, wearing the white t-shirt with red letters saying Marathon of Hope next to a stylized Canadian flag, and those gray shorts. And like everybody else on that course that day, I went running to the highway where volunteers were with plastic buckets. We were sticking our cash into those buckets. It was old school fundraising long before there was an internet or e-commerce or a portal called GoFundMe.
There are 25 million people who live in Canada. Don't tell me that we can't raise $25 million from the public of Canada. Don't tell me that.
Terry Fox was born in Winnipeg but raised in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. He was a very active athlete in several sports, but when he was 18, he was diagnosed with bone cancer. That led to his right leg being amputated 15 centimeters above the knee. According to the Terry Fox Foundation, while in hospital, Terry was so overcome by the suffering of other cancer patients, many of them children, that he decided he would run across Canada to raise money for cancer research.
I'm crying now because there's somebody here right now who is going through the same thing that I went through. Exact same thing, and he's only 10 years old. And I had the most inspirational day of my life today.
So it was that Terry started his Marathon of Hope in St. John's to actually surprisingly little fanfare at first, but momentum began to build, and soon an entire nation was cheering him on. Canadians opened their wallets and their hearts for this courageous lad. But on day 143, on September 1st, 1980, after running for more than 5,300 kilometers, Terry was forced to stop just outside the city of Thunder Bay. Once again, Terry's body had cruelly conspired against him. This time, cancer was appearing in his lungs.
Terry has completed the last kilometer of his marathon. A short while ago, at approximately 25 to 5 BC time, he died.
You know, folks, I still vividly remember, as do several Canadians of a certain age, watching that impromptu press conference on TV in which Terry was on the side of a road lying on an ambulance gurney. I remember how much trouble he had holding back the tears. But make no mistake, this had nothing to do with Terry feeling sorry for himself. No, we all knew that Terry was unraveling because he felt he had let a country down, given that he had so many miles to go before he could sleep. And you know, a nation wept with him. And while Terry vowed to get healthy and resume the Marathon of Hope, cancer would prevent him from keeping that promise. Terry Fox passed away the following year on June 28, 1981, at the age of 22. And in hindsight, despite falling 4 provinces short of his goal, Terry Fox, he failed nobody. On the contrary, he united an entire country. It didn't matter who you were, where you lived, what language you spoke. Everybody was rooting for Terry Fox. And his legacy lives on to this day, thanks to the Terry Fox Foundation, which to date has so far raised more than $700 million for cancer research. And folks, that is why I always make it a point when I'm in Thunder Bay to visit this magnificent statue of Terry Fox. I love how the sculptor has Terry looking upward. Is he looking toward the skies, or the moon, or the stars, or is it heaven? Or maybe he is looking toward an unwritten history, a future where the disease that is cancer is finally beaten. Terry Fox may be gone, but thanks to him, hope, as always, abounds. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, you know that Rebel News loves to bring you the other side of the story, but sometimes we rack up a few bills. Sometimes it's bodyguard fees, other times it's lawyers' bills. Still, we believe in bringing you that other side of the story, so if you can go to journalistdefensefund.com, that's journalistdefensefund.com. If you're able to, kick in a few bucks so we can indeed continue to bring you that other side of the story.